let's hit it.
So we're ready to start the Brentwood Tree Board meeting, January 26th, when you're ready, Chairman Lynn.
January 19th. Oh, not January 26th, you're right. Are we on now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm Lynn Tucker. I'd like to welcome everybody to our monthly Brentwood Tree Board meeting on January 26th. We meet monthly at 7:30 in the morning. So if anyone is interested in joining us, we do have a few openings available now. But right now we have a good group here. We have Nelson Andrews on our board, Cindy Harrison, Linda Elmlinger, Deanna Long, of course, John Mize, Dane Anderson, Sandy Shadley, and Brian Evans. And oh, I see Patty. Patty Schultz has just come on. Did I miss anyone?
Can I do a quick audio check? Can you guys hear me now? Okay.
Nelson, what'd you say?
Oh, I was just doing a quick audio check. Had a little speaker. I was on the wrong audio when I logged in, so just checking it.
Okay, I like your background. I like your background. Yeah, it's very nice. A lot better than mine. Okay, we are starting the meeting. I'm calling it to order as the chair. We are going to review the November minutes. We did not meet in December, so this is our first meeting of the new year. So I think everyone has received a copy of the minutes. So I'd like to hear a move for approval. Who's moving for approval?
I'll move to approve. This is Dane.
Dane is approving the minutes. And who's the second?
This is Cindy. I'll second.
All right, Cindy second. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. The next thing that we typically do, for those who have not been involved with us, we are very much into planning our Arbor Day celebration. And Deanna, what is the screen that we're looking at now? There we go. We were looking at a body of water there, but we do have the agenda up now. Everyone received a copy of our, well, I guess, Deanna, I do need to read this from Governor Lee as far as the issue about holding meetings. Typically, our meetings are held live, but of course, with COVID, we've had to make some adjustments. But I am required, because we are having a virtual meeting, to read this from Governor Lee. As you know, Governor Bill Lee issued Executive Order 16 on March 16th and extended its provisions by Executive Order 34 on May 9th, Executive Order 51 on June 29th, Executive Order 60 on August 28th, Executive Order 65 on October 28th, and Executive Order 71 on December 22nd. These orders were issued to ensure that government continues to function openly and transparently during the COVID-19 emergency, while taking appropriate measures to protect the health and safety of citizens and government officials. In his orders, Governor Lee emphasized that in the interest of limiting the community spread of COVID-19, private and government entities of all types should eliminate large public gatherings and conduct business remotely by electronic means to the greatest extent possible. The order provides that governments may meet to conduct essential business by electronic means when the governing body determines that doing so is necessary to protect citizens. Sadly, COVID-19 continues to spread across the state and Williamson County. Therefore, the city has determined that in the interest of protecting the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans and the citizens of Brentwood, it is necessary for the tree board to meet partially electronically rather than in person. We have posted the link for public viewing on the city's website and social media pages, and we will have disseminated the same to the media. Is there any objection by the committee for this? Seeing none, we will proceed with our meeting in accordance with the state of Tennessee Governor's Executive Orders number 16, 34, 51, 60, 65, and 71. Okay, we're over that. So we're going to start with our real business now. Our next business is Arbor Day preparation. And Arbor Day this year is on, got my other notes.
March 27th.
Yes. On March 27th at the Brentwood, John P. Holt Brentwood Library. Everyone, I'm hoping, has a copy of this in hand that you're looking at as we're going through. You all were sent that. Oh, there it is on the screen. Okay. But it's a little bit difficult if you're on a laptop to read that. So if you all have that in hand, I think we're not going to go through every little detail of this because we have other business to talk about too today. But we do already have the tree donor. I think our main job today is to talk about if we are or are not going to do this event virtually. It is coming up fairly soon. I believe the middle schools and the elementary schools have been notified. Is that correct, Cindy, as far as the posters?
Actually, no. So I will get on that. We decide to do today, whether we're virtual or in person.
Okay.
I will be reaching out.
Okay, so at this point, the schools have not been notified as far as whether they are going to do the posters.
That's right.
Okay. I have notified all the schools, Ravenwood, Brentwood, and BA, as far as the writing contest. But I did send an email to them all a couple weeks ago. I've not received an email back, but that doesn't mean they did receive the information, but I haven't heard if they're interested in doing the writing contest. And then I also contacted the person that used to be on our tree board, Tim Lawyer, who works for Bayer, and he has not responded yet about doing the sponsorship for the acorn contest. So those three contests are the ones that we typically do each year. And we do, once we decide how we're going to do the event, we will need to talk about sponsorship. I know we do have a few sponsors already for the contest, but we will need to kind of shore that up. Just for the community that's listening to this, our theme this year is stress relief, and that's RELEAF, go see a tree. So we will be promoting that on social media. We hope to have a really good event this year, whether it is in person or virtually. So I wanted to start to get some ideas from everybody on what you think, and if we have to do this virtually, how we're going to do that.
Lynn, may I say something? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We literally are not having public programs till the end of March. And more than likely, we will be requesting not to have public programs in April as well, and possibly May. Just that the number of people getting vaccinations at this time and the age group, we just feel we just don't want to be super spreaders. We don't want to be the people who have a large crowd inside our library. So I think you guys will have to do a virtual unless you want to do it outside. But even then, I wouldn't recommend that. I know last time that we did an outside event, it was really hard to, keep everything together and so forth. So I'm a bearer of bad news about in person, but I just wanted to let all of you guys know.
Okay, well, that means we are ready to start the discussion, because we don't ever want to do it any other place than the library, because that's just a wonderful venue for us to use for that sort of thing. So I guess now we do need to start our discussion on how we will do this event virtually. We do have trees ordered, so to distribute to the schools. And I am assuming that we're going to still do that. Patty, go ahead.
I was thinking also the bagging is a major issue too. I don't see how we can do that. I think I'm probably more conscientious, COVID conscious than a lot of other people for certain reasons, but that really concerns me too.
Someone just raised their hand, but they're not on audio. Sandy's trying to speak. Sandy, you're on there. Go ahead.
I would say I agree with Patty about that, because of, those of us who may not have received our vaccines by then and sitting in close contact. So I was just concurring with her. Not that I wouldn't be willing to, I don't want to commit right now. But
well, the question arises, and I'm going to pose this to Deanna. We have ordered trees, but we can cancel that order. I'm assuming. Deanna, what do you think? As far as
I would have to check.
We could get we still could get our 300 free trees and have them available outside at the library. But if we are going to more or less cancel our physical event, and it's impossible to distribute those trees properly, bag them and distribute them, I think we might want to consider canceling that order.
I could reach out today and see if that's possible with the supplier. The other option I just came up in my head was to possibly take shifts of the bagging, and maybe just spread out the times that people come. But then those trees are handed out at Arbor Day, right?
Well, no, they're handed out at the schools.
At the schools.
And that even, that presents. What does everybody think as far as the trees? I'd like to hear some other thoughts.
I would like for someone to reach out to the schools and ask if they possibly, if trees are delivered, would they believe they would be safely given out to the students? And or I like Deanna's idea that in groups, in small groups, come and work. How long does it take to do that with the large group?
You mean bagging the trees? I think logistically it would almost be impossible, because it takes a lot of manpower to bag 2,000 trees, and it would mean spreading it out over a couple days if we had to have a couple small groups in there. Brian, what do you think, Brian and Dane?
Brian was having some audio issues earlier.
Okay, so he might be off.
Well, I share the same concerns that Patty and Sandy have expressed about getting together physically to bag the trees. Having had COVID in my immediate family, I'm extra cautious. If I wasn't already, I'm more so now.
Right. Who else that has not spoken? I don't see, Cindy, what do you, Cindy, where are you still on? Cindy? Have we lost Cindy and Brian? I think we've lost, oh, there's Nelson. What do you think, Nelson?
Well, I've not actually been there to do the bagging before, so I can't envision it terribly easily. I know that we've had a number of things go on over the past year where people have changed venues to try to spread out more, and I know there are things that still happen. Well, just like our tree board meetings where we went over to the pavilion at Granny White Park to try to do them outdoors and more spread out than we would be in the conference room. So I mean, personally, I know this past year in my own life and with our business and stuff I've been involved in, we've tried to maintain as much stability as possible and tried to find ways to do the normal stuff safely as opposed to cancel stuff. So my initial, I guess, position or my initial preference is to try to figure out a way to do it rather than to dump it, just because I think some of these trees end up in the ground and some of them end up, being part of our canopy. So I hate to, because I feel like we didn't get a lot in the ground last year, and I just would like to think we could figure this out this year if there's a place or a way to do it, even if it was just a matter of finding a big space over in the service center, or if we had one of the fire departments, let us use, one of the, whether garages or something. And those are just ideas off the top of my head. But I'd rather find a big space where we could do it spread out than just cancel it. But I haven't never done it. I don't know if that's even reasonable or if that's logistically possible.
Well, it is. We do it typically, of course, at the service center in a large garage, but you have to have groups sitting together very closely with buckets and plastic bags. So there is a lot of close contact, even if we had it in a large space. To me, it would be a very difficult process to try to bag 2,000 trees and still socially distance.
Hey,
Let's see
Lynn,
if-
this is Cindy.
Cindy?
Sorry, so Brian, sorry to interrupt. I can't get camera today. I think I've got my audio working now finally. I was going to say the same though. I mean, people have adapted here. I agree with the COVID concerns, but can this be a one-person job but spread out? Can I personally singly bag a tree so I have my workstation, which is very distant from yours, or even at my own garage? Is there a workaround that route?
Well, it takes two people, one holding the bag and one dipping the tree in tree gel to bag it. And 2,000 trees normally takes about 25 people 2 or 3 hours to do, because other than bagging the trees, then we compile them into groups of 25, and then other people have to put them in large burlap bags. So there's a lot of close contact regardless of how you distance, try to distance.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, that's the process that's always been used. How people have adapted is come up with new processes. You're saying it takes 4 hands. There's no way a 2-handed person can bag a tree. I mean, I'm sure someone does it by themselves somewhere in the world.
Patty's trying to.
If you were going to bag 10 trees or 20 trees, that sounds really reasonable, but it's quite operation. And they also have to go into other bags and be counted for schools and sorted and put there. a pretty amazing process. I personally would pull back, but if somebody wanted to do it, like if you want to take it on, Brian, that's nice. But I think it's a pretty big project.
This is Cindy. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry about the issues. It's such a team effort. I mean, it truly, you know, you're stuffing very awkward shaped seedlings into really small bags. It's hard for me to imagine being able to do that as a single individual. And then even after you've put all the seedlings in the bag, there's still the multiple bagging and categorizing. I have a hard time really, as much as I enjoy that, that's one of my favorite parts of Arbor Day, because it's just fun to get together and have a little. It's just hard to envision doing that safely at indoors. I mean, where you know, the chances of being able to do it outdoors, who knows? I'm not sure how we would do it.
I think the problem is here, talking with our group, the people that are trying to visualize it are ones that have not done it before. So I guess us that have done it, Sandy and Cindy and Patty and I, and Dane, did you do it last year?
No, I did not.
Okay, so it's hard for people to visualize how much work and contact there is involved, close contact with 2,000. I mean, 200 trees is one thing, 2,000 is another. And again, it has always taken us working constantly for 2 or 3 hours with at least 20, 25 people to get the job done. So I know that we all want to put as many trees, excuse me, trees in the ground as we can. But it's something to really think about. We do, I apologize. We do get, aside from the 2,000 trees, because we're a Tree City USA, we do get 300 free trees every year of our choice, and we've selected those. So that might be manageable at the library for people just to come and pick up at their leisure. And we may want to think about some of the trees that we purchase, some of those 2,000, maybe we do keep that purchase, or at least part of that purchase, and bring those to the library and have them set out. But again, they all need bagged with in the individual bags with gel so that they don't dry out, so the roots don't dry out.
Lynn,
Yes.
Erin has just put in the chat. Did you see her note? She says, how about not bagging? I think she said she could hear us, but she can't speak. I think that's what she said. But in the chat, she says, how about not bagging and giving the whole bag to the school as they come in? And she just said, then she says, they would still be moist. And she said, yes. She said they could bag when the teachers open the bag. Yes, so that's her thought there. And I'm going to keep the chat open in case, I'm going to mute myself, but keep the chat open to me in case she says anything else. So.
Hey, I have a question. What if we, for this COVID year, rethink what we do with that money that we buy our seedlings with? Is there another idea that maybe, I don't know, maybe we purchase X number of large size trees, $2,000, so maybe we purchase 10 trees and plant them across the city wherever it might be appropriate. And, you know, maybe we could add to our arboretum, or, you know, I don't know, just a thought.
That's a very good idea, Cindy.
Yeah, I like that too.
I'd like to add, if you do that because the trees went to third graders and sixth graders, is there a way we could honor them if we do that?
Sure, sure. I'm concerned, Erin, I hope you can hear us. I am concerned about giving another responsibility to the teachers to do, because they've got their hands full right now. So I think they would not be responsive to doing their own bagging.
That's a good point.
So just so everyone's aware, we did place our order back in November for the large order of trees. The amount that's already been paid is $1,176. I have sent an email to the company requesting if possibly we could get a refund, to see if it's an option at this point, and to also ask if other boards have run into similar issues.
And Erin added in the chat, who would plant the large trees?
Then you can have them planted. You can have that be part of the price.
Yes, it would be
Right.
less trees, and we could contract with one of the a service to do that. And I certainly understand Erin's question, because the the Parks Department, you know, has limited availability to do extra things like that. They have their own work to do, so that is a very valid point. But I think this is something that we could pursue, but certainly we're a little ahead of ourselves if we're thinking in that direction, because we do need to find out if we are going to be able to get a refund for those trees.
Okay, Eric has just said, give a tree to each school maybe, and let the school plant.
And that's another idea, that if the school will do that, yeah, that's something that they would have to be persuaded to do. But that's a great thought too.
Lynn, is it possible to buy the trees already bagged? I know that's going to be more expensive, but if we're looking at other routes.
No, these are small seedlings, and they are dipped in a gel type solution, which adheres to the roots, so it keeps them moist for about a week.
If you could envision a seedling that maybe it's three or 4 feet long, maybe it's just 2 feet, dipping it into a gel, so you're working in a big bucket, and then you are stuffing that seedling into if you remember newspapers when they used to come bagged, or a bread bag.
Thoughts on that? I know we're kind of that is kind of up in the air right now, until we find out if we could get a refund. But is there a consensus that we do want to, if we get a refund, use the idea that Cindy might have of purchasing some trees for the community? Is that something?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Erin just said it is not possible to buy them already dipped. The nursery digs them out of seed beds.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my question is there a service that does that? Could we pay someone to do that if our fear is keeping ourselves? I'm just trying to get creative here. It sounds like everybody wants to do something, and we're really stalled here. So either we probably have a subcommittee or move on. But it seems like we're trying to work out a solution. Those of us who kind of stumbling in the dark, haven't done it before, trying to propose a solution for something we don't know anything about, and those are, so I don't know if it's a
Correct.
subgroup or what.
Correct. I think, yeah, I think we're gonna have to table that part of the discussion until we get an answer. I mean, we are not, Deanna is just checking on to see if we can or cannot get a refund. So we really don't have to make any final decision right at this moment on that. But I think we'll be talking to each other by, you know, about that aspect after we find an answer from there. So as far as having a virtual event, what are our thoughts on that as far as having vendors submit videos? Does anyone have ideas on how to properly conduct an Arbor Day virtually? Has anyone known of any county or city that has done this? Yes, Nelson.
The closest I've seen is the city of Brentwood's virtual tree lighting, which I thought was outstanding. It does create a truckload of work for Deanna and our staff here at the city of Brentwood. So I don't know if it's fair to use that as an example, but I did think the tree lighting is the best of the virtual events that I've seen so far. And having been a part of a lot of virtual events this past year, being kind of over virtual eventing, that if there's something where we could pre-record some interesting stuff, have something that brought a little bit of a focal point to it, because I could think the tree lighting, you know, connecting the virtual event to the actual real tree lighting and the lights coming on was cool. Having some degree of professional production gave us something that kind of stood out in time as a nice long-term asset. But the virtual events are tough. I mean, you know, the only other ones I can think of that seem to go all right are some of the virtual running races where they have the race, they send the t-shirts, everyone tracks their own time and mileage using an app, and then they kind of generate race results as if the race actually happened. But I don't think that applies to Arbor Day as much as the tree lighting.
I just Googled virtual Arbor Day ideas, and arborday.org has a whole site on alternative celebration ideas. I haven't looked at it yet, but if you go to Arbor Day, there it is. Thanks,
Thank you,
Deanna.
Jane. I had done the same thing because personally, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel here because Arbor Day Foundation has already given us an entire list of alternatives. So, you know, we could hold a virtual Arbor Day event, you know, like Nelson was suggesting. I think that would be a lot of work, you know, that would primarily fall, unfortunately, on my department, which means me, and I'm sure Susan and her staff at the library would help as well. But there's a lot of other ideas here that if we could break it up and maybe, you know, each person be responsible for like one part, like somebody could, you know, record themselves, you know, reading, you know, a book about trees. There's obviously some, you know, logistics there with getting our author permission and things like that. But then maybe we could team up with a company in town to host like, you know, an interactive like Ask the Arborist session where we have kind of like a live Q&A session. And so some of these things we could do that wouldn't, I have some software that we could do like live Q&A questions and things like that that don't take up entirely too much time. And we could maybe spread things throughout the week, like we had discussed back in November, doing like maybe a week-long celebration instead of just one particular day event. We could hold maybe several things throughout the week, but this website has lots of you know, ideas. Another idea here at the bottom says partner with your local restaurants to give away free tree seedlings with takeout orders. So maybe we just have to rethink, if we can't get a refund on the trees, maybe schools isn't where they go this year. You know, maybe we partner with some of the local businesses in town and see if they'd be willing to distribute them.
The trees
I had
will still
another
have to be
idea.
bagged too.
True.
Bagged too.
True. That doesn't solve the issue of bagging them.
True. I didn't see it on this list looking quickly, but you've got such great arboretums. Just picking one of them, like say Deerwood, and having somebody walk through and point out the different trees, maybe an arbor, would be relatively simple, but could be a good thing to do too.
That's a great idea. And then we showcase some of you guys if you'd like. I mean, you guys are the experts here in Brentwood, and, we could go out and feature some of you guys in these videos too.
I think one of the next things for then us to do is to everybody go and print out that list. And then is it appropriate, Deanna, for, because we are, we're only 2 months away from Arbor Day. So is it appropriate to schedule additional tree board meetings other than wait until next month to have our tree board meeting? Because I think we need a couple meetings, extra meetings to really to decide what we want to do. There's a lot of discussion other than in a 1 hour session that we're doing right now that we need.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Is that's appropriate to have subcommittee meetings of our board? Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, I guess since a lot of us have not read through that list, maybe that's something good that we can all do, and then we can go through Deanna and maybe kind of select 2 or 3 things that we'd like to do as part of this. What is that? What are some other ideas? I don't want to be the only one to make these decisions. So what does everybody think?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to have maybe a subgroup. We still got this tree decision to make and take that offline and come back and just propose some things, even if via email back to the group. Saying
Right.
here's our options, and then a separate. I love I like Nelson's thought on how well the tree lighting went. The problem is that takes time from video folks, et cetera, who are all probably working extremely long hours right now because everything's going virtual. So the resource we need there is going to be really strapped. But I think that's a great solution. I think that people can attend safely, watch it when they can, et cetera. So it actually could increase participation.
Yeah, and I mean, we could be selective. Go ahead, Cindy.
I was just wondering if the Arbor Day Foundation might have videos that they could share that we could put up as a whole celebration that could, something that's already packaged, ready to go, might be appropriate.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and also several of the tree companies might have a couple videos. So that would be another aspect we could tap into. I could talk to Bartlett, who I use personally, and I think Aaron has a couple good contacts with some of the tree companies, and they may have a little video, or they may have a couple PDF handouts on things that they could share with to Deanna that could be part of like a whole Arbor Day week of posting on the city website.
Yeah, I mean, if there's information already out there, let's try to create it.
I like the way you're thinking, Cindy. The Arbor Day Foundation website does have some downloadable color pages. So I think we can definitely come up with kind of an alternate, week-long celebration in kind of an alternate way.
Aaron has just, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. Are you all? If you haven't muted your mic, anyway. Aaron says, have the winners still read their work and show the winning posters. Also, give the awards virtually.
Award, how would the awards be? Oh, you mean giving the awards virtually? Yeah. So we would still be with this virtual event. We would still encourage the writing contest and the poster contest if you're willing to do that. There is a question that I have. I know that Deanna, that Jared, who is has rolled off the board, his company was going to be one of the sponsors for the Arbor Day contest. Is that correct?
Yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
I forget where the
have
sponsors stand.
Okay, but do we have any other sponsors for our contest?
Yes. I think I emailed Lynn, both you and Deanna, that Publix has agreed. However, they're most generous, but they have $250 in gift cards. Now, I guess Deanna and Nelson could best answer this. I would be happy to forward my since I spend money in Publix all the time, and give $250, or I can get it today if I like in gift cards of Chick-fil-A, but I don't know if that's kosher for me to do that or not with you, but I'd be happy to do that. And Publix, and I can go down there today. They notified me 2 weeks ago that a $250 gift card was coming from Publix at Moore's Lane. And I did ask them, how would they like that advertised, Moore's Lane or just Publix? And Jen down there says either way. So I suggest Moore's Lane Publix. So they're ready to give me gift cards in some way. And I didn't even suggest that what would you call that if it was pass-through money? I mean, how do you want me to handle that? I can't hear you.
Lynn, you muted.
You're muted.
All right, can you hear me? Sandy, you're muted.
Yes, I can hear you.
I think we'll have to discuss those details offline. That'll be, but that tells us though that we do have so we're trying to have sponsors money enough to for the poster contest and the writing contest. So that $250, we will try to figure out how we would distribute that as far as using that gift cards. So just hold off on that right now. So we do have Jared's company, Richland. We do have your sponsorship. Do we have any other sponsorships at this time that you know of, Deanna?
Aaron wrote down we have Bartlett.
Who?
Bartlett. Aaron says that Bartlett is going to be.
Okay, so we have three sponsors, three $250 sponsors now. So we actually only need one more $250 sponsor because normally we collect $1,000 in sponsorships for those two contests, and then we distribute them to first, second, and third prizes. So if everyone will, I can talk to Deanna and John Major had indicated before he dropped off the board that he was very willing to help to obtain some sponsorships So we can talk to John and see if we can find one more $250 sponsor. So let's let's move on now. I know our time is getting a little short here. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's move on to the board member status. Right now, rolling off the board, Jared Peters and Sandy. I believe you're rolling off the board after this meeting. Is that correct? So we will sorely miss you and Jared from the board. We really appreciate you helping, and particularly all the work you have done as far as being our secretary. And I will really miss seeing your minutes. So, but thank you so much for your service on the board.
I was happy to help.
Thank you, Sandy.
Sorry to hear you're leaving.
Renewing on our board, their terms had come up are Cindy Harrison and Patty Schultz, I believe. Patty, were you? Yes, you've re-upped, which, so thank you very much, and thank you, Cindy. I believe you have renewed on the board. Well, you have sent in your application. Deanna, what is the process for that?
Okay, so we do have, like you said, the incumbents whose 2-year terms are up are Cindy Harrison, Jared Peters, Patty Schultz, and Sandra K. Shively. So we have received applications from Patty and Cindy Harrison. So thank you guys for reapplying. We have also received board applications from John O'Brien and Sam Todd.
Okay, and when does the city commission vote on that?
The city commission will vote on those new members at their February 8th board meeting.
Okay, okay. And so in the meantime, we are still looking for other applicants for.
Well, we currently have 4 open seats, and we have 4 people who have applied.
Okay, okay.
And I do want to express my appreciation to Sandy. She has been a wonderful member, volunteering for our Emerald Ash Board video over the years. So her spirit will live on with us in many ways.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed my service here. Thank you, albeit short. But I plan to be busy, and I would like to help. I'm still willing to help get to schools and all that stuff if you need me.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sandy. Next on our agenda is a committee report. The Emerald Ash Borer Committee has been meeting faithfully for quite a few months. So I don't know, I believe Dane and Patty and Nelson and who else are on that committee?
Brian's our chair.
That's it. Brian's the chair.
The chair. Mr. Brian, what's the report?
Yeah, sorry I can't join you visually today, but I'm here. So we've got a little bit of progress. We've put together a timeline. Lynn, you may have to mute it. You're lighting up, so I think that's where maybe the echo. We've put together a timeline of actions leading up to one fault on my part. I looked up Arbor Day and forgot that we're actually celebrating Arbor Day on March 27th versus I think the actual National Arbor Day is later in April. So I'm adjusting the timeline for that to lead up to it. John Miss from State Farm, I always get their name wrong. Tell me it right. State Volunteer Mutual Insurance Company. There we go. They're contributing prize money and also doing some creative work. So we're right now looking at some logos for what's the working title was Brentwood's Best Ash contest. We've also been working with the city to have a mapping process. So this is not just a photo contest, but also a contest to ask people to identify ash trees and map them, even if they aren't submitting a picture. So we'll get an address and or GPS location. So this helps us map trees. There's been some other cities who've done really great work with this that we've been looking at. What else here, team? What am I missing? Also, we're talking about a campaign, a letter possibly from the tree board. So this group would have to approve that. A letter from the tree board. John also had worked on this with his own HOA. The idea that we would send out a letter to HOAs and management companies telling them about the emerald ash borer and things they can do, what they should do to prepare for this, either to treat trees or be prepared to take trees down. We also have done one quiz that was published in the Brentwood homepage. We appreciate their partnership and plan to do another, and then some informational sessions leading up to it. We've also prepped that we could do this virtually in the event we don't have a live Arbor Day. And I really personally don't think this is going to hamper us terribly, because a lot of this work is done anyway outside. It's just a matter of getting the publicity out there. So we would miss the announcement opportunity at our Arbor Day celebration and the announcement of the winners opportunity if we don't have the July 4th celebration. But everything else was generally virtual anyway. So we believe this could still go forward even if we have to go virtual. Team, what did I miss?
I just want to thank Brian and Nelson and Patty and everyone who's been involved with this. John, this has been a very working group behind the scenes that's been putting together a lot of time and effort on this. So when we were discussing our virtual Arbor Day celebration earlier, I guess we forgot to mention that this is also another big part of that launch, was announcing kind of this contest and that kind of program. So we'll definitely want to dedicate a part of that, virtual celebration to this launch of this campaign as well. Nelson may have something else to add.
Mainly just what you said. It's really been a great group, and worked hard to put some stuff together on this very important pest that can jeopardize our canopy. And like I said, going through, because John Mize and the team at State Volunteer Mutual Insurance has put together some significant sponsorship for it that could really go a long way. And also with I think some of the different companies that can offer treatment and try to publicize what to do to either treat or remove the trees affected is really important. So I think it's a good time to continue to really promote this.
Thank you so much for all your work, all of you. I mean, the emails are just so detailed and thorough. Brian, I really appreciate you coordinating the committee, and I think we are on our way to helping a lot of ash trees, and at least definitely in getting it into everybody in the community's heads, informing them about ash and their importance, and we'll go from there. Another item that we normally have on our agenda for the tree board is we always end up with our department giving a very brief report on what's going on that might relate to the tree board and to the community. So I think Nelson is on, of course. I don't see John. Did he fall off our?
No, and I'm on.
Oh, John. Okay, John, could you give a brief report, please?
Well, yeah, before I do that, Deanna, did you ever have the chance to get a hold of John McBride? Have you ever met with him yet?
No, I did not know I needed to meet with him. I thought you had called him and discussed that with him.
Okay, because I wanted to make sure that we're getting him involved with the publications and the paper that he deals with to get the word out on all the things that we're doing.
Yes, I can contact him if that's what you were hoping that I would do. I'm sorry. I thought that you indicated that you were going to contact him.
I already contacted him, all that stuff, but I don't want to get involved with things that are really in your area as far as the communication and all of that stuff. So I said, you would get a hold of him, and he's on the homepage, right? Williamson County.
See, we work with a different reporter that covers Brentwood. His name is Matt
Okay.
Masters. And so
Okay.
I know he's done a couple of stories for us before. And then John also had an idea to put a notice in the city's water department bills that are still mailed to people. So that's actually in the latest the latest water bill payment. There is a reminder about the Emerald Ash Borer, and it links to our website. So we appreciate John giving us that idea.
Okay, but yeah, what had happened was I contacted Mr. Bednarz on that, and he's going to go ahead and I guess you've already talked to the people on the Waterberg to put some memo on there with regards to what we're doing. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
With regards to the Planning Commission, there's more and more property that's going to be annexed to the city of Brentwood. And there's a lot of trees in those areas, so we'll be discussing those in the next couple of meetings. As a matter of fact, next week we'll be talking about the Gall property, which is on Split Log and Sunset, 130 some odd acres of property that's going to be taken and redeveloped for the city of Brentwood. So that's what's going on. The city's growing, and it's all in my backyard, which worries me a little bit, but it's okay. I'm sure they'll make it work out.
Thank you, John. For all that are listening to this broadcast, I did want to make a point that this tree board committee is made up of volunteers, but also the representatives that we have from the Planning Commission, the Parks Department, and our city commissioner representative are all a part of this committee, and they are actually worker bees on this committee. They're not figureheads on the committee. We all work together and get the job done and help our trees. So I really appreciate, even though John, you have another job on another committee, I appreciate your helping with this. All right, Nelson, do you have a report for us?
The Parks Board has not met since our last meeting. It's kind of the quiet time in the Park Board, so not a lot to report right there. To John's point, we are taking a look, and the commission's looking at annexing additional land into the city of Brentwood. Now, if you want additional information on that, I have written about that in my newsletter a couple times recently. But the general, I guess the position of the commission, or the posture maybe, and not speaking for the commission, but just as a commissioner. But the comment I've been hearing a lot is that this land is going to move forward one way or another, either inside the city of Brentwood or outside the city of Brentwood. And if we want to have a seat at the table, it's better if it's inside the city of Brentwood. So we'll have more opportunity there to take a look and do what we can. And I have a lot of confidence in John and the Planning Commission team to look at the designs and make sure it follows our code. And we do have a pretty extensive tree preservation plan built into our city code, which I think is important. So we do have that stuff going on. I've got some of that posted online if you all want to see it, if you haven't seen the newsletter already, or if you want to talk about any of that going on, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Thanks so much, Nelson. Is Linda Elminger, is she on the call? I don't think I see her. I thought maybe she was on earlier, representing the parks. Is there any other business for us to discuss? I know our next regular meeting is February 16th. And hopefully we'll be able to meet in person, but that will depend on everything starting to improve in the community as far as COVID. Are there any other business items that you all want to discuss before we adjourn? We will certainly be all looking at the Arbor Day and the foundation, Arbor Foundation website. Which Deanna, what is that website again for everybody?
I've actually already emailed that list and the link to the website to the board. It is the Arbor Day Foundation. And Lynn, I do just want to say before we end the meeting that if you are thinking you want to do a virtual meeting next month, we do need to kind of plan that in advance because we have to advertise it in the paper 2 weeks ahead. So that is something that we would probably need to go ahead and make a decision on fairly soon.
Okay.
Linda said she was on and unmuted, but we don't see her.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Thanks.
Lynn, did you just want to take it offline where we're going to set up maybe a smaller group to talk about this, either the trees, saplings, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Are there any other business items that we'd like to discuss?
Lynn, John Bertucci, I just want to mention to you, I just got my water bill, and if everyone would look at their water bill from the city of Brentwood and look down at the bottom in the comment section, it says, have you heard of the Emerald Ash Borer? And there's a lot more to it, but take a look at your water bill. That's one way for us getting the word out on the things that we're doing. It's in the comment section.
That is a great accomplishment, and as a result of our committee pushing that forward. So thanks so much for everybody. That's much appreciated. So thanks, John. I got my water bill yesterday, but I didn't open it. So I'll look at it today.
I think we should all bring our water bills to next meeting, and the highest water bill has to buy around for everybody.
Exactly.
That's a great idea.
Is there any other business to discuss? If not, will someone make a motion for the meeting to end?
So moved.
Second.
Brian and John, thank you so much for attendance, and I hope we meet in person next week. Next in February 16th. So thank you very much. Deanna, thank you for coordinating this too. Appreciate that.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.